All right. Well, welcome everybody to today's HelpSystems webinar, IBM System Administrator Appreciation Day. Thanks for joining us. Like the tagline says, taking time to celebrate our heroes, because in the past year, they've been the ones holding down the front line and providing services to remote users like me, and many times going into the office when the rest of us weren't there. So really the unsung heroes of IT. So today we get to lift them up a little bit and shed some light on their roles and also their challenges. My name is Chuck Lisinski. I'm the Director of Technical Solutions here at HelpSystems based in Wisconsin, and I'm joined today by several of my esteemed colleagues from around the globe. And I've been with HelpSystems for 22 years now, 35 years in IT. And let's introduce everybody. Mike Davison, how long with HelpSystems? How long in IT?
Hi Chuck, thanks for having me here today. 6 years with HelpSystems this year, and I've, crikey, been in IT probably over 32 years now. Started at 18.
All right, and more than just IBMI.
Oh yeah, AIX, Solaris, Linux, and VM VSE on the old IBM 4381 mainframe.
Wow. Okay, thanks, Mike. Sandy, welcome. Good morning. How long with HelpSystems? How long in IT?
Oh goodness, coming up on 13 years with HelpSystems, and I've been working with IBMI for 18 years now. So before that, I had nothing to do with technical stuff.
And Tom Huntington, our Senior VP of Technical Solutions, thanks for joining us this morning.
Chuck, very excited to be here and to see all the familiar names out there that I know are the day-to-day systems administrators around the IBMI platform anyway. So welcome to all of you. And, you know, I've been on IBMI since, well, since it started 12 years ago or 13 years ago. And then before that, iSeries AS400. So 30 some years on that platform, and excited to be here with everybody and share some of our experience with working with all of you.
All right. Well, let's introduce our three special guests that we have with us today. Real live IBM sysadmins. You know, these guys have been very generous with their time over the years, sharing their knowledge with people around the globe, really. And I think they have a unique perspective too with what's gone on with their particular roles in the past 12 to 15 months. So question for all you guys, we'll start with Tom Komadowski from HelpSystems. How long in IT? How long on IBMI? Tom.
Started about probably 33 years now, 32 years. Started on the 38, so, and was been with it ever since. With HelpSystems for 16.
16 years now. Wow. And also very involved with our local user group, Q User.
I'm there.
You bet. You're a critical component, Tom. Doug Powell from Medical Mutual in Ohio. Doug has participated in a number of our webinars and has even helped us with a case study out there on our website. Doug, that's an interesting looking workstation that you're at.
Yeah, it happens to be the inside of a 1964 Cessna 172.
Oh, welcome. So how long have you been in IT, Doug?
I've been in IT for 33 years, and I've been on the iSeries since it was still called codename Silver Lake. So we're talking like 1988.
Wow, very nice. Very nice. Okay, so we'll have some unique perspective out of Doug. Doug has actually been a remote worker for many years. And Johnnie from Polaris. Johnnie, welcome. You also are very involved with Q User.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Always look forward to this every time of the year, and such a great thing that you guys do. I've been in IT since 91-2. I've been on the IBMI platform since 98. And then I've been with Polaris Industries going on 7 years this year.
Okay. And also formerly with IBM, I believe.
Yep. So I spent 15 years with IBM. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So we'll definitely get some unique perspective out of Johnnie. And also today, if you do have any questions, as you've seen, we have centuries of experience here, both on the platform and in IT. So if you have any questions, send those in and we will get on those as soon as we can, or potentially we'll answer those at the end. So first of all, Tom Huntington, what is System Administrator Appreciation Day? Oh, Tom, are you muted?
Famous words these days is, are you muted, right? So the Systems Administration Appreciation Day has been around for some 22 years now, and really it's meant to recognize all the great work that you all do. And to Chuck's point, this pandemic has certainly put a lot of stress on many of you, because day one it was like, wow, can we get access to the system? And who's on the spotlight? It's the systems admin people to make sure that we can gain that access. So very excited, and we can't say enough for what you all do for IT around the globe.
Yeah, exactly. And the actual day is on Friday. We decided to have this early because we know end of the month can be busy for you guys.
Yeah.
Sandy,
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about the role of the sysadmin. It's interesting. Some people pigeonhole us into certain categories, but really
it's impossible to do that. Sysadmins do so many different things. There's just, it's crazy what they're responsible for.
Yeah, I think about things like, obviously we have the technical aspect, but Johnnie, I know that you talk a lot about the soft skills.
Yeah, I mentioned I just mentioned not long ago, I cut my teeth, if you will, at IBM. I learned about the IBM I platform from them. I never knew what it was until I joined IBM. So fortunately for me, I went through an extensive period of training. They did an excellent job with bringing me up to speed on what the platform was and so on and so forth. So I learned a lot of deep technical skills. One of the things that I didn't learn until I was on the job was the importance of soft skills, really. And I remember this very clearly. I'll never forget it, because it was one of the first times I actually had a platform really to show my skill of what I learned with IBM, and taking my first call, taking my first client and working with them. And I did great. I did. I unloaded on this individual. It was she. I explained so much in technical detail that I actually ended up offending her with the level of skill that I was giving to her. I was assuming she had the same level of knowledge as me, and it really it offended her so much that she she made it very clear that I was talking above her. And one of the things that I took away immediately was there was a different aspect of being a system administrator, that you really need to work with all levels of knowledge and quickly. So this slide is full of true things that we need to cover. One of the things that I didn't really know about was soft skills. And that was one situation in which I kind of took, like, this is something that I really need to get better at. And for our team, eventually I ended up being a soft skills representative for the team long further down the road, and that really opened up my eyes there.
Cool. Good story, Johnnie. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Tom, let's talk about, related to all these roles, let's talk about priorities.
Yeah, you know, we, as usual, we do the annual marketplace survey. We've been doing that now for 7 years. And by the way, it will be open for an 8th year in September. So mark that on your calendars. We do appreciate your time. It's very helpful for the industry. But when we look at the survey, we look at the top concerns. And when we think about systems admin people, they get tied into security, high availability, data growth. They get in discussions of how can we reduce IT spending. Mobile access is obviously a big part. Capacity planning, migration to the cloud. Those are all topics that we hear about in enterprise systems management tools. You know, but then on the other side of it is the IBMI skills, and we'll talk about IBMI skills and, you know, how do you get that? And I really got to laugh at Johnny's soft skills, and I think about my own experience as an administrator and literally back in the day having people crying on the phone because I asked them to press the enter key and they were worried they were going to break something, you know. And so that soft skill thing, I really appreciate that, Johnny. That's a great point. So when we think about challenges from working from home, we also ask the question about these challenges because of COVID. And we know that many people have been working from home, and, you know, thank God for VPN access, client access solutions, and automation in my mind. And the more that you had automated, I think the more successful administration staff members were when it came to managing the systems during the COVID period here. And, you know, things like going paperless and whatever, hopefully those things were either reality for you or you had to deal with how do you get somebody in accounts payable to print invoices manually and mail them out. And that was tough on a lot of accounts. Mike, any of your thoughts on this from a UK perspective? Anything different?
Well, for me, HelpSystems, it was pretty seamless, really. So on the weekends that it all kicked off, the Monday we were put on standby to go home. And by Wednesday, we were all working from home seamlessly, purely because our infrastructure was there already in terms of us having laptops and a great VPN. My main issue personally was my daughter and son also had to work from home. So we had to get our ISP to up our bandwidth because we were getting a bit of clash there. But I also know that my previous employer, they ran a massive contact center and an IT function that many of my ex-colleagues were working in, and they did pretty much the same within a week. And you're talking about 1,500 people. They've been so successful working from home as an IT operations department that they're going to move with that going forwards. And they're actually making people redundant because they're getting more done at home than they are done in the office. So there's a human cost to that for them.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And that, you know, at HelpSystems too, we're seeing that we're giving employees the choice to work from anywhere. So it's kind of funny. We're looking to grow. So as an organization, now we can attract talent from anywhere. So that's really a great perspective on that, Mike. And you know, managing partitions is part of the world we live in today. If you remember, 1999, IBMI got partition technology. So it's been around for you know, a little over 20 years, and has grown. Every year, our survey shows that we have more and more, or less and less customers with just one partition. Doug, what's your perspective? How many partitions do you guys manage? Any challenges or things that you like or dislike about this technology?
We're down to 3 partitions now. We were up to like 13, 14 partitions at one time. We've done a lot of consolidation. So we're down to 3 partitions now, 2 production partitions and a development partition. I absolutely love the virtual type stuff that we're doing now with, like you said, we've got the partitioning availability. I don't have to touch hardware. I mean, I can sit here at home. I've been at home for 15 years now. And I can run everything from here and I don't have to move. So.
Okay. And then for backups, I think you guys use virtual tape library too. So that's something
Yes.
too that you've automated.
Yes.
Okay. Any experiences with that you'd share?
Yes, I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Since we know users and programmers never delete stuff that they need a minute after they delete it. In the old days when that would happen, it would be, call the tape library to Iron Mountain, who we were using at the time, call them up, wait a day unless you wanted to pay X amount of dollars to get it there, FedEx basically overnight. Now they delete something, we hold them for extortion, charge them a donut or something, and we have their file back within minutes.
Yeah, but now you can't do donuts because everybody's working from home. You got to send an e-credit, right?
Yes. Amazon gift cards.
Amazon gift cards. There you go. How about you guys, Johnny, over at Polaris? I know you have a few partitions too. What's your environment like?
Yeah, we have 13 partitions. We're looking to probably spin up a few more. So we're kind of growing in that aspect a little bit since years past. So yep.
Sounds like IBMI is pretty what do you want to call it, core to your business there at Polaris.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. IBMI platform plays a very important role in Polaris infrastructure.
And I know Tom, and Tom K is going to show up, everybody. Tom, how many partitions are you managing for HelpSystems?
484 right now with 17 VIOS.
But who's counting, right? And is that all IBMI?
No, that's that. X, Linux, and IBMI all living together on the platform.
Yeah, wow. Believe it or not, we have to have a fairly large QA test environment, POC environment, you name it, right, Tom, so that we can demo test all the software we have.
Yep, and nobody ever lets them go, so they just roll out new ones and never give them back.
Am I guilty of that? I think I just increased my expiration date just the other day, Tom. So the other thing is we're seeing more and more in the marketplace conversations around moving to the cloud, and this is a reality as certainly we go forward with IBM, SkyTap, Microsoft Azure even interested in the IBMI workload because I think they realize there's a lot of Windows servers along IBMI, so if they can get better at it, so can we. So the thing is too, though, as you go to the cloud, one of the things that you always have to think about is who's going to be the systems admin, right? Is it your cloud provider or is it still you? And a lot of organizations don't always have that correct. They need to make sure when you're looking at cloud technology, who's responsible for cloud only type environments, the security, you may not have to do the PTFs anymore, but somebody's still got to monitor the system and other things that come up that you do day to day, backup stuff like that. There is definitely reasons to keep abreast of that as you move to the cloud.
Yeah, Tom, this is Chuck. It's not hands off, is it?
No, it isn't. I mean, that's it. And the operating system day-to-day things don't go away. Somebody still should be, as Doug was pointing out about disk space and things like that, cleaning up development environments, things still need to happen.
Yeah, so that's a great segue into this final survey question that we asked was, how many administrators do you have for IBMI? And I found it interesting that 8% of our respondents said none. And what that leads me to believe is maybe that administrator is really doing something else. Maybe they're a developer, maybe, in fact, we've even heard of people being like a network admin and also being responsible for IBMI. But as you can see, over the years, system administrators have been able to manage huge environments, a lot of partitions due to some of the tooling and the reliability of the platform. I think we're all pretty well aware of that. Now, Doug, you're not the only admin at Medical Mutual, right?
No, we've got a team of 3. I'm probably the most full-time one. My other teammates are doing a lot of data transfer with Go Anywhere and different things like that. I also do SharePoint design and Go Anywhere. Well, that's the nice thing about the IBMI platform. It's stable enough that a lot of times it's not a full-time job for a team of people.
Right. And the other side of the coin too is that there are tools like the robot product line that help people automate their environments so that they can manage large multi-platform complex environments and maybe just have a dashboard or maybe totally be hands off, so to speak, and only be notified of exceptions, which has always been our motto is just notify you when something goes on. So that's our shameless plug for robot and automation tools, but it's really the truth. Our participants in this webinar today use tools in the robot product line and beyond to help automate their environments, and that's what helps them manage the environment, the very complex environments that they're in.
Chuck, if I think about a job description item that should be on every administrator's line or tagline should be automation. And really they are not only systems admin these days, they're automation managers. And the more automation you use, the less you have to do. And I think that's kind of Doug's point, is that group there has really, what do you want to call it, used the tools to help them get out of the day-to-day kind of mundane things.
Exactly. I know you've preached that over the years, and it's very much the truth. So here's what we're going to talk about in more detail, or in greater detail. We're going to talk about mentoring new IBMI talent, implementing new IBMI and Power technology, how to be flexible with your security configuration, and then we're going to finish up with optimizing system availability. But we're going to start with a polling question, and the polling question is, it's kind of a fun question. What did you do before you were an IBM I admin? All right, have you always been an IBM I admin? Maybe you came from the Windows or VM world. Maybe you're a developer. And personally, I have run into a number of network admins, so we added that response. And potentially, maybe you had a non-technical role. In fact, one of our folks here at HelpSystems that we're going to talk about was totally in a non-technical role outside of HelpSystems. We brought him in, and he was kind of a hobbyist computer guy, and now he's one of our technical support managers and just doing a really great job with IBMI. All right, I'll give you about another 5 seconds.
I was an RPG2 programmer, Chuck.
What's RPG2?
Yeah. Tom K knows.
Yep.
You bet. Yeah, Tom's done a little bit of Tom K's done a little bit of that. Okay, so here are the results. Can you guys see the results? Tom, you want to go through that? Tom H, you want to go through those?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've always been an AS400 I-Series administrator. 43% of you. Well, rock on. That's awesome. And then I was a Windows VM administrator, 11%. We also see developers who become administrators and kind of have to move away from, I can just write any old code and hope that Doug Powell runs it and Johnny runs it for him, right? I was a network administrator, so 0 people coming from there, and then 23% that had a non-technical role. Very interesting to your point with like Scott on our team.
Wow, a quarter of our audience. That's pretty impressive.
That is.
Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna have to stop sharing for a second.
You gotta hide that thing.
Yeah, it's not going away. Hang on a second.
It's not.
Let me reshare.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Okay, let's get into mentoring new IBMI talent. Tom Huntington and I are going to go through this.
Right. Steve Will and others have talked in the past about fresh faces, and you've seen this program. It was run primarily by the IBMI Systems Magazine group and IBM, but it points out the fact that there are a lot of new faces that have come to the platform, and I guess if anything, if you have somebody on your team that should be noted as a kind of leader but yet new to the platform, let us know and we'll certainly get them involved in it. But on the flip side of it, I think it reminds all of us that who started out as IBMI Systems Administrator and or even had no experience, that where did we come from, and did we know IBMI right out of the gate? And the answer is probably no. Myself, I had no idea what a System 36, 38, System 34 were when I started in IT, but yet I learned them. And today we have this huge benefit. One of the other, like I call, what are the changes that happened during COVID that are going to continue to be part of us? One of them is all the remote learning. Think about all the YouTube videos, webinars, all the content that's out there today for you to learn about IBMI. There's tons of information now. It's just a matter of getting out on your, as Chuck calls it, the Mr. Great Google, and searching for information. It's all out there. You know, and then we
Great
think about
Google.
IBM's kind of their formal, their formal programs. You know, you got Common, you got TechU, events around the globe. You got the user groups that exist for your various areas, and that world has changed too. You can join most of those remotely, and I'll shamelessly plug Q User that Chuck and Johnny and them are part of, and Tom Komadowski. They have users from Idaho that are part of our Minneapolis user group, for example. And then, of course, you know, people always, last week I did a webinar with Steve Will. They talk about marketing. Where are we spending our marketing dollars on IBMI? Is anybody doing anything? You know, is IBM doing that? Today's world is about social media. So if you're not active on LinkedIn or other things, then really you own the marketing message around this platform these days and around Power. So get out there and be active. Share some of your stories, some of your insight on things that you're doing in your shop on IBMI. Customers and other customers love that and appreciate that. And then, of course, IBM has their academic initiative too. Mike, any thoughts from, again, over the pond and education around IBMI and Power?
Well, like you say, it's a global world now with the internet, and there's so much education available out there. Back in the day, you used to have to persuade your boss to find a 4-figure sum to go on a training course and be out of the office for a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't need to these days. Like you say, user groups like Common, they provide a wealth of contacts and events where you can pick and choose subjects that interest you. IBM Redbooks are great for in-depth documentation on learning a new technology. And YouTube, LinkedIn, there's just a whole wealth of resources out there. I find my problem these days now is not finding something that helps me, but sorting out the wheat from the chaff, as we say. And I think the chief skill is really to use a search engine effectively to find the information that you want, and knowing which keywords to use in your search to find that free content. And yeah, Google's my go-to these days.
Yeah. Right. You know, don't believe everything you find on Google, but if it came from HelpSystems, it's got to be true. That's my
yeah, or IBM, or one of the main user groups for
or
sure.
Polaris or Medical Mutual, right?
Yeah, like I say, it's sorting out the wheat from the chaff.
There you go. Very good point.
Yeah, Tom, thanks for the Q user plug. Let's take a look at an actual case study, and this is an internal case study of HelpSystems. So HelpSystems has partnered with MCC, Muskegon Community College, because they have a 2-year IT degree there with an IBM I curriculum. All right, and we've actually hired some interns to work this summer, and in previous summers, we also have one of our employees on their board that guides the IBM I and IT curriculum. Doug, you've also worked at or done some education at a local community college in your past, right?
That is correct.
And talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, at the local community college back when they had an IBM I curriculum, as one of the instructors for the CL programming, which did some of this stuff with the file designing utilities and things like that, and also a system operations class that was kind of your typical system operator, but it also got into some of the technical support functions. So I taught that for a number of years, and I still wish they did it.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess my point is that we recommend that you partner with a local institution that has some kind of an IT degree, and then ultimately, you might end up doing some mentoring on IBM I.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And then user groups are a big part of it. You know, IBM themselves recognize the importance of all the different local user groups around the globe that provide education around the platform. And, after all, it's not necessarily looking for somebody who's trained on IBM I, it's putting together your own curriculum of things that they should be doing when they come join you if they don't have IBM I background. And again, you could put together your own course and say, watch this on YouTube, and here's something on work management, here's something on backup and recovery, here's something on journaling. All those things are out there. You could actually build your own course for your own staff members if they join you and maybe they only have, Linux background. And that's all, through many of the different user groups. So
good point.
Yep, and speaking of the user groups, we do have this documented on our website. There is a link that you can go out to, but common is a big part of it. These are all the different common locations around the globe. It's not just a US only type thing. There's certainly many different locations around the globe for it.
All right, and as far as the United States and Canada, this also came from our website. As you can see, it's a crowded screen. All right, and we put Q user right there in the upper left-hand corner. You can check us out. Certainly, you can join us. We've got a 2-year membership deal going on, and it's reasonably priced, online, remote learning, and we take your input to decide who we bring on board to do presentations. But there's a lot of other locations, and they all provide very good information specific to the platform. And likewise, some of them also do workshops. For instance, the last 2 years we've done workshops around SQL, and somewhat specific to IBMI, but that was those were really good sessions. All right, so just to kind of sum up the whole attracting new talent, and we're going to bring up Scott Angus. He's not with us today, but he is one of our people who was a non-technical individual. We brought him into HelpSystems because he had a good attitude. He was kind of a hobbyist computer guy, and he's taken on IBMI. He learned IBMI from scratch, and he worked his way up to the point where now, as you can see, he's not, he's in his mid-30s, and he's our robot product line technical support manager. So he really dug into the platform and our software, and he's doing a great job with it. He's got great soft skills, et cetera. So really it comes down to mentoring talent. If they have some IT expertise, even limited, bring them in and mentor them on the platform. Almost none of us knew IBMI out of college, right? That was technology that we took on. Also, you can look for and adopt a 2 or a 4-year institution that has either an IT degree or something more specific around IBMI. Probably you're going to find something more in just IT. Certainly new techniques and tools like RDI if you're in application development, a lot of new languages on the platform now. And of course, I'd highly recommend that to be good in your job, you're continually learning. Our technology is changing all the time. So attending things like this, attending other webinars that we put on or that other folks put on around the platform are really critical. So don't be afraid of the young talent, the fresh faces. They get it. But make sure you put the right tools in their hand, and don't forget to teach them the green screen. Don't just put the web interface in front of them, even though that's maybe what they know best. Let me ask Johnnie. Johnnie, you have some firsthand experience with bringing in a non-technical person or somebody who doesn't know IBMI into IT.
Yeah, actually, we are a staff of 3. Our newest member to the team he comes from the Z operating system. He's never worked on an IBMI platform before. So you kind of ask, well, why did we bring him in? His expertise was with DB2, and where our point we needed further skill set was in that space. So we brought him in, into the platform, just primarily just let him stick to what his expertise was, but we needed to bring him up to speed with the IBMI platform. So introducing him to newer modern technologies helped him align to some of the things that we were talking about in our own language, right? Because IBMI is is somewhat different in the Z space, but so that allowed him to kind of get familiar with the system, and then strategically we have him doing certain aspects of the responsibilities of the team, because that does get him familiar with green screen and some of the more traditional IBMI interfaces and commands and such. But
Gotcha.
the modern applications, these things, he's a younger guy. He's definitely this newer generation of technical folks coming into the industry. So it was really great for us. It was a big win for us in that respect.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for sharing that. Well, let's move on now from attracting and educating talent to implementing new IBM and Power technology. We've done a number of webinars around some of the new technologies that are available over the past 20 years or more. I think of things like independent ASP, SAN storage, VTL, live partition mobility, and so forth, and also the operating system itself and the technology behind it, Power 7, Power 8, Power 9. So we've got survey results here from 2021 showing what is the most common platform out there: Power 7, Power 8, Power 9. You can see in 2020 it was Power 8. 2021, Power 8 is just a little bit ahead of Power 9. But I think if Tom Huntington, if we did this survey right now, I think Power 9 would probably maybe even overtake Power 8, and Power 10's on the horizon.
Yeah, I would think that'd be the case. Certainly we'll hear more about Power 10 shortly. So excited about that, and I'm not sure we'll include it on the survey this September because it might not quite be out yet, but
right,
who knows?
Right.
That's all I can say.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So, Tom Komadowski, so you've have experience with pretty much all of these technologies.
Yes.
Are there any that you find more challenging than others?
Just keeping up on the newer stuff that's coming in. There's so much new stuff being added to the line now. You know, we're adopting so much more from the AIX world, from the Windows world, every night for hardware and things like that. You know, the virtual tape libraries was something that with the COVID stuff that came in, that was something that was rushed through, making sure we got DR on that. The Power VC stuff, if you've got multiple partitions, that rocks for rolling out new VMs and things like that very quickly. SAN storage, love it. Just having everything in secured and easily controlled and easily movable stuff on the SAN makes management so much easier.
Right. Hey Doug, what technologies have rocked your world, so to speak?
Definitely the external storage. It took me out of the hardware problem to where I used to have to do rack configurations and everything else in order to figure out if I could add some more disk. Now it's just a phone call or a help desk ticket into our SAN group, say, I need this. Done. And like I mentioned before, the VTL, the virtual tape libraries, absolutely love that. It's made my life very much easier. Less time tracking things down, look it up, have the data right back. I kind of wish the live partition mobility was a little bit better than where it is right now. Hopefully that's going to change, but we could certainly use that too for upgrades and things.
Right. Johnny, if you had to pick maybe one or two technologies that really rocked your world, what would you say? Or maybe if there's a technology that you're looking at that you're hoping is gonna.
I would say in the list that the ones that we have already in our environment, I would say the one that has provided tremendous ROI has been the flash copy. The flash copy technology has saved our runtime, our uptimes. It's just been great.
Yeah, and you've been challenged with uptime a little bit in the last year, haven't you?
Yeah. COVID actually, it did the opposite effect, and unfortunately, knock, and we're very grateful and humble about it. But we've been tremendously busy. It's been a crazy year, and it hasn't let up. So flash copy right now is really huge for us right now. So
yeah, and I
we've
think
been loving that.
a lot of people don't realize that flash copies have been around for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not bleeding edge.
No, it isn't. And the technology that we recently also too got new Power 9s for some of our systems as well, and external SAN updates as well. The NVMe has been great. So flash copy, the upgrade and improvements in hardware and software in the SAN space has been awesome. VTL has also been great. So we've got the newer updates and SAN, VTL, and flash copy has really been great for us.
Yeah, it really makes the environment super flexible. So speaking of that, let's go into our being flexible with your security configuration. Sandy.
Oh, security is my favorite topic. So yeah, actually, if we look back at our marketplace survey, you know, the security and the regulations that companies are having to adhere to hasn't gone down. There's actually been an increase. 2021 saw a lot less companies with no regulations they're having to adhere to. I think GDPR, that one's a biggie, where it really does affect way more companies than it used to. Johnny, do you guys have any regulations, audit stuff that's come up or changed in the last year?
I would say the level, I mean, it's there. We do SOX and I think it's always been there, but I think it's gotten more granular. The security is a little bit more tighter. Questions and controls around certain items have gotten a little deeper in the IBMI space, in my opinion. I think some of that has been just folks in the SOX world just not familiar with the platform, but I think that's changing.
You betcha. They ask us questions.
Yeah, exactly.
No more hiding.
Yeah, our auditors sometimes, you know, they don't hesitate. They go out to vendors for support and you know, get other opinions. So we encourage that. We don't shy away from any of that. We have nothing to hide. So
nice.
Well, we accept it. So we just adapt and but it is getting, I think it's getting it's all in good, you know, it's all for the good. Security is very important. So
yeah, and I mean, you know, we more and more I see that system administrators are responsible for the security of the system as well. There's no longer a separate team. There's not a separate individual who is focused solely on security, for sure. Doug, I know that you spend some time on security as well.
Absolutely. Being a health insurance provider, there are no shortage of ever-changing government regulations and audits that we have to be able to deal with on a moment's notice.
Yeah.
And I think you also made mention of the thing that a lot of the times the auditors that come in for these things, they don't speak IBM IEs. So I spend a lot of time trying to translate what are you asking for versus what do you want?
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, definitely a challenge. Tom, Chuck, you guys hearing much around this IBMI security challenges?
I think from my perspective, Sandy, it is really the unknown that the auditors come in with that they don't know, and they start asking an administrator for things that don't exist. You know, I'm a big, to me, I look at the regulations as an award, getting an award for doing something, for passing the audit. If I'm the administrator, I'm more concerned about, I don't want to be hacked. I don't want my data to be compromised. So that would be where I spend my time. That would be what I would focus on. Make sure that people can't get in, user accounts are cleaned up, security, et cetera, as far as security goes on IBMI. Make sure you're tight, right?
For sure. Yeah. And I think that some of the biggest challenges. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Chuck.
I was just going to say the insider threat, one of the, challenges that we really don't think about, but that it's something that you need to think of.
Mm-hmm. For sure. It's already inside. I think the challenges overall, lack of budget for security projects, getting the money to actually, whether you're implementing software or services, whatever it is, and getting that money to be able to actually roll out that security. And then, the lack of security knowledge. Those are the two biggest challenges that we've seen increases. As more people retire and budgets get tighter, it's definitely a challenge. So now if we look at our State of IBMI security study, it just backs up that the fact that security is a challenge, that year over year, we see that its systems are not where they should be. And, this gives us some insight into the actual hardcore data from customer systems. You can download that too if you guys want, and that's definitely an eye-opener. But when we do that security scan, this is where that data comes from for that State of IBMI security study. So we invite customers to run this free tool to evaluate the current state of security on their system. I do this a lot. This is one of my favorite things to do, and it really gives you that high-level overview of security on the system, where you're actually seeing things that you don't think to look for. And back to the auditors, they don't know to ask for. I know that Johnnie, we've done that together, and Doug, I feel like we've done that as well. So, it's definitely gives some value to figuring out where you're at currently, so you know where you can make those improvements. We even do other platforms as well, Linux, Windows, Unix. So we've got a whole team that can do that side of it as well. Professional security services too. We were talking about the skills, the security skills that we're lacking. And so, this is really where, with HelpSystems, we can step in and help companies, whether it's remediation, architecture, going further and evaluating the risks of the security on the system. Tom, you've talked with a lot of customers about this as well.
It is. It's a big concern out there, and it's kind of one of those things, if you don't know, then ask for help, because you don't want to be that administrator who gets called in the office, how come we, ended up with a breach on our system? And you're like, well, I thought I had everything secure. The free security scan is a great way of seeing every year where you're at and are you improving, and what are your things that are easy to fix. A lot of these things you can do yourself. It's just a matter of having the right tools. And if you don't have time, then professional security services is certainly a big help. And we're obviously not the only ones out there doing that either.
All right, Tom, let's move on to optimizing system availability. Thank you, Sandy, for taking us through the security section.
Yeah, so high availability is certainly a big topic out there for customers. Disaster recovery planning, it seems like we're hearing more and more about these areas. Johnnie, I know you and I have had some discussions in this area. What are some things that you're looking at for your company from a journaling perspective, or HA in general?
It, like I had mentioned earlier, it's really about uptime, having system availability. We are a global company. We have different people doing different things, projects always happening, going on. So high availability is very crucial. We're trying to find what is the right fit for our environment, and some of those real life expectations. So we are looking at, we're leaving no stone uncovered or unturned at this point.
I know you and I had a call a while ago, and we went through all the different options from HelpSystems perspective that are available out there, like PowerHA and DBT Mirror, and regular traditional local remote journaling. So I always encourage those kind of discussions. Doug, what's your group doing? What do you guys think about HA over at Medical Mutual?
We're kind of the opposite almost of what Johnnie is. Most of our business is happening during I guess normal business hours.
Yeah.
At least that's where the heavy hitting stuff is going on. So we've looked at the high availability, but at this point we seem to have enough time to do quick backups nightly and weekly. Would like to look more. Our production partition does enterprise system scheduling, and that one is getting harder and harder to be able to get any type of a maintenance window for. So that's something that we'll probably be looking at in the future, is as that system becomes more and more important, what are our options for that?
Got it. Okay. How about Mr. Tom K? Anything that you think about when it comes to maintenance windows and those kinds of things? I know you guys just went through a huge data center move for us.
Yeah, we got it done
Any
in a
lessons
weekend.
learned?
Yeah, just be prepared. Our maintenance windows, I think we're 1 day a month now that we can actually do maintenance, and it's a half day on a Saturday morning. We have, like I say, like Polaris, we're a global company. We have people on the systems 24/7.
Right.
And working from home, people work all hours. They're working nights, weekends, you name it. And
Okay.
the maintenance window has shrunk to almost nothing. It's great to do the SAN based, and the flash copy is fantastic for that. That can free up your maintenance window right there. You can do the flash copy and back up the copy of it, and your main system stays up and running.
Yeah, I think people are saying it's really no longer a maintenance window. It's finding a time when data's at rest and nobody's using it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. And speaking of that, we do also in the survey have the high availability question, the disaster recovery. The nice thing about being an IBMI administrator anyways, is I hear a lot of success stories around, things like, hey, we went to the DR recovery site and guess what? IBMI was the only one that finished the recovery in time. And I've heard that for years from customers. Johnny, your experience there, or Doug, or maybe Doug, why don't we hit you first? What are your experiences with recovery?
You're absolutely correct, because our company's a very big mainframe shop. So when we do our annual disaster recovery tests or quarterly, whatever they want to spring on us, the I-Series or the IBMI is 100% of the time, knock on wood, we're up within hours versus days of getting the mainframe completely and set. And for the most part, we don't have any problems, especially since we've gone to SAN, and we just swing the SAN over and we're done.
Wow, good story. Johnny, do you guys test?
Yeah.
Have you had success in this area?
Oh yeah, we kind of got, so we had this on our roadmap to go to flash copy gradually. Then last year happened, and it was just like a light switch. We had to flip immediately, and so we went from routine IPLs, routine maintenance windows, to 0 IPLs and 0 maintenance windows, and we are fighting that to get a maintenance window. It's a negotiation that has to take place, and it has to line up, and the stars and the planets need to align just for us to get it. So flash copy has been huge because we can still do our routine backups and so on and so forth, and have good data to be backed up, but allowing the business to have access to the system. It's been, that has been just a big thing this last year. So
awesome.
Yeah. So VTL and flash copy and external SAN has been
yeah.
big.
So it really comes down to this slide, business continuity, right? We're all after that. At HelpSystems, these days now we've gotten into this big time because we have Robot HA now, which is your traditional local and remote journaling type technology. We also been now working on for over 4 years now PowerHA and making that technology better. We still have Robot Save and BRMS for the virtual tape library backups, and we work on both of those technologies. And we have a lot of customers looking at how can we help them out with disaster recovery as a service, where they have an on-premise partition and then moving that data to the cloud. And then along with that, let's not forget about automation and monitoring things and security, and those are all part of the business continuity plan that we have at HelpSystems for you. Feel free to check us out.
Thanks, Tom. So we've dug in deep on a few topics, but there's a lot of other things you can educate yourself on. So we've got some free services available. We've got free product health checks. So if you've got a HelpSystems product, we'll take a look at it and tell you how you're doing in terms of purging and setup. We've got the free security scan that Sandy talked about. We have a system performance problem determination and analysis service using the Performance Navigator tooling. That's a professional service, along with capacity planning with the Performance Navigator technology. And then we have online education. We have Operations 101 for somebody new, IFS, Backman Recovery. Certainly a lot of education out there on PowerTech security and robot automation. So take advantage of that. And at this time, we're gonna, Tom Huntington, I'm gonna ask you if you can check out the questions, and I'm gonna roll out the last polling question, which is basically, how can we help you? How can we follow up with you to make your lives easier? Would you like to get together on a tech update conversation, which is basically a discussion about your IBM I technology and how you're using our tools and some of our other technologies that we have available that might be able to assist you? Security scan, PowerTech health check, robot automation, PowerTech security, and so forth. All those are critical topics that are available, and we'd like to follow up with you if you have any commentary on those. Tom, any outstanding questions we need to address? And it doesn't look like we've got any. I know Tom has to jump on another call, so we'll leave the polling question up for a minute. And it looks like, Sandy, it looks like there's a lot of interest in the security scan. And we're also going to follow up with a number of people on our tech update conversation, as well as on PowerTech security. We'll leave that open for about another 10 seconds or so. And while we're doing that, I want to thank our special guests, Tom Komadowski from HelpSystems, Johnnie from Polaris, and Doug from Medical Mutual. Appreciate your time today, guys.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Been a pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah, as always, you've been very generous with your time, guys. And with that, I'm going to close the poll, and we're going to finish up with a little thank you video that we put together. And let me get that queued up. All right, I want to thank everybody for attending, and have a
Hi, sysadmins. Thanks for all you do every day. Long live IBMI.
Thanks, sysadmins, for all the help and the work you do behind the scenes. It's greatly appreciated.
Thanks for all your hard work, sysadmins.
Thanks, sysadmins, for all you do.
Happy Sysadmin Day! Thank you for everything you do.
Hey, all you system administrators out there, thank you.
Thank you for all that you do.
I want to thank you for rocking it every day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sysadmins, for everything you do.
Thank you for all that you do.
Muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias.
Hi, sysadmins. Thanks for everything you do. We really couldn't cope without you.
I thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys and gals. A big thank you to all the sysadmins out there. We really appreciate all that you do.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.